안녕하세요. Riding on the Korean wave. Welcome to Thursday's edition of The Culture Wave. I'm Kwon-soa in Seoul. Explore with us Korea's culture from all aspects and stay up to date with K-entertainment, K-tourism, K-sports, K-everything. And today I'm joined by my co-host Bella Kim in the studio. Hello, Bella.
Hi, Soa. And hello to everyone joining us today on The Culture Wave. I'm Bella, back again to co-host and fill you guys in with the latest in K-entertainment.
Why don't we start with a big congratulations on the successful launch of the fourth Nuri rocket launch, Korea's homegrown space rocket. I think it was really worth staying up until very late to see that launch.
It was breathtaking, and I'm very excited for Korea to become one of the top in the space powerhouse in the world, right?
Let's hope that. I mean, Korea is definitely a culture powerhouse. And let's start off the Culture Wave with K-Enter News. And Bella, we're going to kick off with a familiar actor that we usually see on the screen, but he will be taking to the stage soon.
That is correct. Actor Jung-min is stepping into the lead role for the Korean premiere of Life of Pi. On Wednesday, the production company SNCO revealed character images of Jung-min as Pi and the Bengal tiger Richard Parker. And playing Pi demands more than just raw emotions, as the role requires making the tiger puppet feel real to the audience. Life of Pi follows a boy who survives 227 days adrift with the tiger Richard Parker. Their bond, described by Pi as both a companion to my pain and the force that kept me alive, has already captivated global audiences through the best-selling novel and a hit film adaptation. The Korean premiere of Life of Pi opens on December 2nd at the GS Arts Center here in Seoul.
So excited. I mean, Jung-min is going viral these days.
Oh, yes.
Ever since his performance with Hwasa at the Blue Dragon Awards.
And he also gained the title as Nation's X.
Right. And we're going to actually talk more about Life of Pi with Professor Jie-won tomorrow, more in depth. So looking forward to that as well. But now let's shift to film, Bella.
Japanese film Two Seasons, Two Strangers, starring actress Sim Eun-kyung, is scheduled to reach Korean audiences this winter. The story follows a screenwriter named Yi who experiences an emotional transformation after meeting a guest house owner, Banzo, during a winter trip to a snowy coastal village. And he has already created buzz after it won the Golden Leopard Award, the highest prize at this year's Locarno Film Festival in August. The film, directed by Miyake Sho, stars Sim as the lead role, Yi, along with Japanese actors Kawai Yumi, Takata Mansaku, and Tsutsumi Shinichi. Two Seasons, Two Strangers will premiere in theaters nationwide on December 10th.
What a perfect film for the winter season. And Bella, from a new play to a film to a new album.
That is correct. Cube Entertainment's rookie boy group Nows dropped their third single, Play Ball, yesterday. The 3-track album is led by the title track Home Run, along with Get Back and Run With Me. The 5-member group debuted in April 2024 with its first single, Nowadays, and it is Cube Entertainment's first new boy group in 8 years since Pentagon, and its first new group in 6 years since Idol. The group actually went through an official rebrand as they changed their original name Nowadays to Nows back in June. Meanwhile, Nows was recently spotted by Billboard as the K-pop Rookie of the Month.
All right. Thank you very much, Bella, for those exciting K-Enter news, and stick around.
Will do.
And now let's go over to our AI anchor, Arang, for more on the culture front. Arang?
Hello and welcome to your AI guide to the latest cultural updates from Korea. Here's our top story. Hwangnidan-gil, in the southeastern city of Gyeongju, has been named this year's Tourist Destination of the Year by the Culture Ministry and Korea Tourism Organization. The street was recognized for its blend of traditional charm and youthful energy, which has made it a standout travel hotspot. Writer Im Sang-chun, who penned Netflix hit K-drama When Life Gives You Tangerines, has been selected as an honorary contributor to Korean tourism. Im earned the honor for helping revitalize tourism in regions featured in the drama, including Jeju, Gyeongsangbuk-do Province, and Jeollanam-do Province. The head of the Korea Heritage Service, Jung-min, who is on a visit to Paris, met with the newly appointed Director General of UNESCO, Khalid El Inani, on Wednesday. Ha said that El Inani expressed deep concern over a high-rise project planned near Seoul's Jung-min, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and strongly requested a World Heritage Impact Assessment. Ha added that El Inani voiced strong support for the Korean government's efforts to preserve Jungmin's cultural value. The two also discussed preparations for the 48th session of the World Heritage Committee, scheduled to be held in Busan next July. The National Hangul Museum is hosting the 5th Hangul Experiment Project exhibition, titled Senses of Writing, Tools and Perception. The show features 23 artists and designers presenting new works across a range of media, including visual arts, crafts, and installations. They explore the evolving world of writing tools, from traditional pencils to artificial intelligence. It also highlights how reading and writing practices are transforming in the AI era. The exhibition runs at Kulture Station Seoul 284 through March 2026. That's all from me. Stay tuned to the Culture Wave.
As Seoul and Tokyo continue to work towards a future-oriented relationship, tourism has been one of the ways bilateral ties have been developing vigorously. Our Oh So-young sat down with a Japanese tourism official to find out more about efforts done on this front.
Everyday travel is creating a new sense of normalcy in South Korea-Japan relations, with tourism and culture expanding as the two friendly neighbors work towards future-oriented ties. That's according to Yuichi Shimizu, Executive Director of Japan National Tourism Organization in Seoul.
I think the key point is that each country now exists as a familiar, everyday presence in the other. Every visitor forges their own memories, encounters, discoveries, and moments of surprise the closer they look. For every trip, there is that much emotion.
This year marks the 60th anniversary of Korea and Japan's normalization of diplomatic ties. The decades since have seen fluctuations in bilateral relations. During a period of heightened diplomatic tension in 2019, Korean travel to Japan fell by almost 26% to 5.6 million. But that trajectory is changing. Shuttle diplomacy resumes between government leaders and active travel between citizens. In just the first half of 2025, 4.8 million Koreans visited Japan, nearly half of Seoul's population.
For Korean visitors, travel to Japan has become something very familiar. It doesn't require particular effort. It's significant that people now consider Busan or Fukuoka for their trip the following week.
The demographic makeup of visitors has also broadened.
It's slightly early to call it a trend, but solo travelers, visitors in their 20s and 30s are the core. But we also see families and those whose children finish schooling. It is encouraging to see such a wide range of age groups.
The volume of traffic from Japan to Korea has been comparatively smaller, which the executive director attributes to Japan's lower passport ownership rate. 1.2 million Japanese tourists came to Korea in the first quarter of this year, 98.5% of pre-pandemic levels. The increase was driven by individuals and group travelers, indicating sustained popularity of Korean pop culture. Shimizu suggested this also offers an opportunity for cultural collaboration to encourage two-way travel.
This is just my idea, but if Japan and Korea could create joint dramas or films, content that strengthens enthusiasm on both sides, I think that would be marvelous.
Japan has boosted practical support for visitors from Korea, including smoother entry procedures.
The recent priority entry lane for travelers between Japan and Korea was very well received. When it comes to expanding regional routes, travel agencies and local communities are putting in considerable effort. We help promote the appeal of these regions and drive demand.
Among them are smaller cities with unique regional charm, as Koreans increasingly seek immersive experiences.
There are many wonderful places Koreans have not yet visited. I'd like to introduce places without direct flight connections. Nagano Prefecture offers rich culture and nature. Matsumoto, in particular, has beautiful streets, bars, cafes, and the national treasure, Matsumoto Castle.
He emphasized the role of direct encounters in shaping perceptions going ahead. A survey this year found that over 1 in 2 Koreans believe bilateral ties grew stronger through culture and sports over the past 60 years, compared to 1 in 3 who cited improvements in diplomacy and security.
It is not Japan seen through the news, but what you see with your own eyes, experience for yourself, and where you interact with people, those personal memories that accumulate. I believe these are what truly improve our relations.
Making special moments ordinary, Shimizu says he hopes endless discoveries and personal encounters will continue to build familiarity and friendship between the two sides. 오수영 아리랑 뉴스.
Time for the latest in the world of K-sports. From friendly football matches in Korea to Son Heung-min's first season completed at Major League Soccer, awards at KBO, and team switches. Who's covering all of that? Our sportscaster, Jason Lee, who is joining us in the studio. Welcome back, Jason.
Hi, Jason.
Good afternoon.
I feel like we might need to have you come in a little more frequently because so much is happening in 2 weeks in the world of sports.
Especially these last 2 weeks, it's been nuts.
So where are we going to start? Let's start with the 2 soccer games for Korea's national team against Bolivia and Ghana.
That's right. Korea had a couple of games that they hosted recently. Korea beat Bolivia 2-0 in Daejeon. And then Ghana, they defeated 1-0 at Seoul's World Cup Stadium just last week. And, you know, at first glance, these are both good results for Korea. But Korea does outrank both these teams significantly and are more accustomed to playing in the cooler November temperatures of Korea. So I don't know if I can say that they were great games for Korea. I guess I can say, though, Korea played well in the second half of both games, but they clearly took a while to get going in both of these games. And you could even argue that they might have been outplayed in the first half of the Ghana game in particular.
If I remember correctly, Jason, didn't you say that you were going to watch the Ghana games at
I
the
was
stadium?
there, actually.
Right.
Yeah, I went there with my dad.
So as you were there watching the game up close, did you feel like there were any players that stood out also in the Bolivia game?
Yeah, in particular, I thought the usual suspects, I think, were very good for Korea. But, you know, let's start with Jo Gu-sung in particular, who made his return to the national team after a 1.5-year absence. He scored a really nice goal against Bolivia, shielding off a defender and then poking the ball past the keeper. You know, it wasn't really a pretty goal, I would say, but when you watch it over, he really did all the things that he needed to do in order to score that goal. So I thought he played well in the small opportunity that he was given. As mentioned, the usual suspects, Lee Gang-in, Son Heung-min, they played well. Lee Gang-in, once again, a nice long pass that resulted in a goal. That's been his signature. Speaking of signatures, Son Heung-min with a beautiful free kick goal from just outside the penalty box on the left side, which is becoming his signature office, I think you could say. But one other player that I did want to mention is Hwang Hee-chan. He's been a bit of an enigma for Korea the past decade. You know, he shows flashes of greatness and then he disappears for a while. But I thought he brought a lot of energy to the offense once again after he subbed in against Ghana in particular in the second half. And he actually earned a penalty shot. He would actually miss that shot. But the reason I bring him up in particular is, as mentioned, he shows a lot of potential and he could be really great. And I really think Korea needs him to play well next summer if Korea is going to have a successful World Cup. We know what we're getting with Lee Gang-in and Son Heung-min and Lee Jae-sung and Jo Hyun-wook, Kim Min-jae. But I think if we can have the best version of Hwang Hee-chun show up next summer, I think it would be an extra boost to what they already have. And I think his play last week shows flashes of that potential. So we'll hope that he is able to continue this into next summer as well. And I do want to mention quickly, earlier today, Korea was confirmed to be in pot number 2 for the World Cup draw. So there's going to be 4 pots, each with 12 teams for the 48 teams in the World Cup next summer. And Korea is in the second group. So basically, the teams rank from 13 to 24 for argument's sake. It's a little bit different than that. But basically, they're going to have one team that is ranked higher than them, and they should have 2 teams that are ranked lower than them in their group, all things being equal.
Not too bad.
Yeah, it's I think the first time that Korea's been in pot 2. They're usually in pot 3 or 4 in terms of seeding. They were in pot 1 for the 2002 World Cup when they helped host. So, you know, they had an advantage in that particular World Cup, but this is going to be the highest that they've been ranked.
Nice.
So this is, you know, a very good sign going in.
That's
Great.
amazing, yes. And speaking of soccer, Son Heung-min actually had a super busy week with the matches with national team, and he also had games with LAFC in the MLS quarterfinal. So how did you see that matches?
That's right. The playoffs underway in MLS. LAFC played in Vancouver this past weekend. And, oh boy, what a game that it was. Vancouver jumped out to an early 2-0 lead. And then in the second half, I mean, it was the Son Heung-min show with a goal in the 59th minute. And then again, like I mentioned, his signature free kick from just outside the box on the left wing with just 4 minutes into injury time to tie the game, some late game heroics. Unfortunately, it wasn't a happy ending for Son and the team, however, as they would lose this one in shootouts. And Son Heung-min was actually the first shooter in the game. He would ring his shot off the right post and out. LAFC would fall 4-3 in the shootouts, so certainly unlucky for them. I do want to add, though, that LAFC dominated play in the 30-minute extra time. No goals were scored, unfortunately. Son Heung-min limping through much of that as well, so playing hurt. It was very unfortunate, but perhaps with the season being over for Son Heung-min, he can get some much-deserved rest.
Much deserved indeed.
Yeah.
And I think in the first 3 months that he's been there in the States, I think he had around a dozen goals. And
pretty much a goal a game.
Yeah.
And setting up a lot of goals as well, and being very, very popular among all the fans in LA, as well as Major League Soccer as well, because not only was he selling tickets for LA, but everywhere the team played, they were selling more tickets.
All right, now let's move over to baseball. The KBO has been burning with hot stoves lately. Who have been the biggest names switching teams as free agents? Yeah,
a lot of hot stove action. Let's start off with the very significant one that actually kind of got me by surprise. Kim Hyun-soo is leaving the LG Twins to sign with the KT Wiz for 5 billion won over 3 years. That after playing the last 8 years with the LG Twins, including 2 championships. He was the MVP of the Korean Series this year. So I thought, you know, that he wanted to stay in Seoul, as he's really only called Jamsil Stadium his home. But I guess he doesn't really move too far away, as he's just going down to Suwon. So he's still staying within the Metro Seoul area. LG's other free agent, Park Hae-min, their center fielder, he stays put with the Twins on a 4-year deal that could reach as much as 6.5 billion won. The biggest splash in free agency went to the Hanwha Eagles, who landed KT's Kang Baek-ho on a 4-year deal worth up to 10 billion won. And in order to squeeze his contract under the salary cap, the team actually had to let go of pitcher Lee Tae-young and former All-Star second baseman An Chi-hong. So they wanted Kang Baek-ho quite badly. Meanwhile, KT also signed NC outfielder Chae Won-jun to a 4-year, 4.8 million won deal. He's probably better known for his time with the Kia Tigers. And speaking of Kia, they lose their shortstop Park Chan-ho, who takes his speed speed and defensive wizardry to the Doosan Bears on a 4-year, 8 billion won contract. So I think overall you could say that the Doosan Bears and the Hanwha Eagles were probably the winners so far, but obviously there's far more moves to come throughout the winter and Christmas season, and we will certainly keep you updated to what goes on.
Sounds great. Please do keep us updated. And speaking of KBO, KBO also had year-end awards where Hanwha's Cody Pons won MVP and KT's An Hyun-min taking the Rookie of the Year. So it wasn't that much of a surprise, though, right?
Yeah, I would definitely say these were kind of no-brain selections for the media to pick out winners. Cody Pons set a strikeout record. 252, and with that, he also won the pitching Triple Crown, and basically any time a pitcher has done that, he's won the MVP. The bad news for Hanwha is, though, that his great season will likely mean that he's going to get a decent contract in Major League Baseball, so he's likely to leave a pretty big hole in the Hanwha rotation. Meanwhile, An Hyun-min, he was also a no-brain selection for Rookie of the Year after hitting .334 on the season with 22 home runs. He's already 22 years old, so he's a bit older than some of the recent Rookie of the Year winners, but he's certainly shown a ton of potential for the future, both in the KBO and internationally as well, you could say.
And Jason, we mentioned this also a couple of weeks ago. The exhibition games, Korea went to Japan for a baseball doubleheader, and it turned out with a 11-4 loss and a 7-7 tie. So what do you make of this game?
Yeah, a couple of games. Japan's ranked #1 in the world. Korea has done well, but they've been struggling as of late in terms of international play. But let's start off with An Hyun-min, because we're just talking about him, and he was clearly the most impressive Korean in the games. He hit 2 home runs, and pretty much he was walked or pitched around every other time that he came to the plate. So the Japanese pitchers, they were clearly scared to pitch to him, I would say, and for good reason. He was mashing the ball in Korea, and he was mashing it over there in Japan as well. Song Sung-moon, who was recently posted for Major League Baseball, also hit a home run in the series, so I'm sure he's only helped his Major League Baseball stock with that as well. Meanwhile, Oh Won-suk and Kwak Bin, I would say that they were solid as starting pitchers for Korea, but Korea's bullpen, some pretty big issues with their bullpen. The relievers did not pitch well at all. They were absolutely atrocious, to be honest. They allowed 4 runs to score on bases loaded walks. This should never happen at all. 4 times in a game, and 11 batters they walked in that 7-7 game. So, I mean, if they just walked 1 less run in, then they could have won that game 7-6. But I suppose overall, it was good to see Korea able to match Japan in at least one of the games. But clearly, Korea needs to bolster their bullpen if they're going to have any success next March in the World Baseball Classic. What's that, like 4 months away? So they've got a bit of time. Do note that both Korea and Japan did not use all of their top players.
Superstars,
because, the Major League Baseball players on both sides, Korea and Japan, did not play. But not only that, Korea took pretty much just their younger players. So even some of the top KBO players were not invited. I think, they want to give the veterans some rest, and they want to give the younger players some opportunities. So I think when it comes to the actual World Baseball Classic come March, you'll see a slightly different roster, and probably in particular with the bullpen.
Right, and I was going to say we were missing a few big superstars in these games, but the same goes for Japan.
Absolutely.
And speaking of Japan and superstar, Ohtani will be playing in the World in the Classic.
Yes, he has announced that he will be on the Japanese team.
Yes. So, what do you think are the chances for Korea? Is there something we should be extra getting prepared for?
I think obviously, Otani's going to be playing, as mentioned, and I'm curious to see how many of the other Koreans play, because I'm sure Kim Hae-sung, Kim Ha-sung, Lee Jung-hoo, who are all playing in Major League Baseball, will join the team come March. But the previous iteration of the World Baseball Classic, there were some other half Koreans. Tommy Edman, in particular, played for Team Korea as well. So will they invite him to the team once again? Or a fellow by the name Rob Refsnyder, who's actually an adoptee. So he's Korean blood, but he's an adoptee that plays in Major League Baseball as well. Maybe they'll invite him. There's other players like that they could go to beyond just those playing in the KBO. So I'm curious to see how many of those type of players get invited as well. And as you mentioned, I mean, Japan, they're going to advance most likely. It's going to be as one of the teams. So the question is, can Korea be the other team to advance out of their group? Oh. And they certainly have the talent to do so. It's just going to come down to how they play in those particular games. And again, their bullpen has got to be revamped.
All right. And on that note, thank you very much, Jason, for all of the updates today. And
pleasure as
can't
always.
wait for next time. Thanks.
Thank you.
And thank you, Bella, as always. We're going to see you back here tomorrow.
Yes, I'll see you back tomorrow.
Thank you for spending the past half an hour with us on the Culture Wave. Please join us again tomorrow on Friday at 2 p.m. Korea time, and maybe one day here in Korea.